Thank you very much for inviting me here today to speak. My name is Brett Henkel, and I'm the co-founder and VP of Strategic Accounts for Svante. Svante is developing CO2 capture technology using solid adsorption. I founded the company in 2007, so we've been around for quite some time. I'm sure many of you know us as Inventus, because that's what we were for the first 15 years. So I might make a mistake today. I do often. I call it Inventus. The reason we switched to Svante is because we wanted to name the company after Svante Arrhenius. He is the first scientist that actually wrote down that CO2 could cause global warming in 1896. So actually, we've known this for quite some time, haven't we? So we are based in Vancouver, British Columbia. We are primarily, our largest shareholders are the Oil and Gas Climate Initiative, Chevron, and Husky Energy and Mitsui. And we're about 100 people right now. So that gives you a snapshot of the company. So about 5 years ago, like I said, we've been in this game for a while. We were going and being pulled in every direction by emitters, by any outfit that actually wanted to work with us, we'd go in that direction. But we sat back a little bit and we thought, okay, where is CO2 capture going to live in 2050? Right? That's a hard question. Everybody wants to deal with something right now, but where is it going to be functioning in 2050, right? And when we did that study and looked at that, some things popped out. And now I'm glad to hear today, actually, it's been talked about pretty much the entire day, right? The one that popped out to us was the most likely thing to live in CO2 capture in 2050 was cement. It was an obvious choice. Even though at the time, the cement companies wouldn't answer my phone call. You know, they weren't there, they weren't ready, they weren't moving in that direction. Somewhat were, but not on a grand scale, and that is changing now. So we are going after industrial emissions, and that's why we believe they will have a home long term in industrial emissions, places where it's very difficult to not use that product, and it's very difficult to produce that product without creating CO2. So that's what we're going after. Now, we talked about collaboration. We are strong believers in collaboration. We don't think this is possible by single companies or single magic bullets or any single organization that's going to make this happen around the world. We are open to collaboration with anyone, and this is proof that we have actually made a partnership with Climeworks. Imagine if we can supply point source capture on an industrial site and direct air capture on that same industrial site. That would be pretty cool. So that's the, and we're working with each other on technology as well. So really good, strong collaborations. With our technology, it's solid adsorption. So we take a material that grabs onto CO2 and lets the nitrogen pass. We coat it onto a substrate and we make what looks like a filter. Okay, so very high surface area, very fast heat transfer, and very high capacity. Okay, so we can cycle the flue gas in, grab onto the CO2, we then put steam into it to release the CO2, and we do that all within 1 minute, that whole process. Okay, so very fast. We didn't have any valves that existed at the time to do that, so we partnered up with these rotating heat exchanger companies. They exist all over the world. They've been around for a long time. They're in every coal plant. They consist of metal plates. They're in this wheel, and they transfer heat into the combustion air from the flue gas. We said we'll just put in our structures into that wheel and capture CO2 instead of heat, right? So we transfer on one side, the flue gas goes in, grabs onto the CO2, the wheel is turning, it turns into the steam step, the CO2 comes out, and it turns this batch process into a continuous process. And it looks very much like a rotating heat exchanger, so industrial companies are very used to this configuration. Does that make sense? I know that was very, very quick. I only got 5 minutes, so I hope so. You can come and talk to me afterwards. So this is our flagship pilot project that we just finished. We did turn it on, and it worked very well, better than expectations. We had a very unfortunate event happen, is that a blower, just this simple blower that we purchased from Germany, a bolt came out of it and it wrecked the impeller. So right now it's getting fixed to run our pilot plant. But super confident this is going to be a fantastic showpiece for us, and when it gets back online. And this is our 1 minute, good. And this is our flagship commercial target for long term. Obviously, everybody has talked about the U.S. and the pipelines and the Permian Basin, and the first step is to use CO2 for enhanced oil recovery because it provides the economics that makes project happen right now, combined with the 45Q. So we have partnered up. With Lafarge Holcim, Total, and Oxy Low Carbon Ventures to look at capturing CO2 from the Lafarge Holcim cement plant in Colorado, southern Colorado, and that CO2 would go into this Sheep Mountain pipeline and transfer down into the Permian Basin. Okay, well, thank you very much.